welcome back to my backyard snack yard. I'm out here with another interesting edible. The builders have finally gone, they were repairing our roof, and so now I can sort of get back into fixing up the garden. And I have this one plant that I've been keeping in a pot for quite a while because I was afraid of planting it and then having it be damaged. And it's supposed to be really cold hardy, but usually for the first few winters I like to protect them somewhat just to keep them growing and get them really off to a good start. This one is in the same family as my honeyberries, and it's also a shade lover, which is always a benefit because lots of my garden is quite shaded. But it should produce some really interesting berries. It's actually, the honeyberries of course produce blueberries. I'll show you, I have a honeyberry really nearby, so I'll show you how it looks right now. It's got some beautiful little beginnings of honeyberries. They're still quite green, if I can focus. But yeah, it's all over. They really flower early and don't mind cold. They're so hardy, and then they produce these interesting looking berries which turn blue as they ripen and also get a lot larger than they are right now. So the one that I've just got now that I'm going to be planting nearby, then they can cross-pollinate, which is always a benefit. This one is actually known as the raspberry honeysuckle because the berries are red. And I'll just show you the little tag that came with it. It's always useful. So it's called Lonicera hare. And yeah, it also flowers early like the other one in the winter. And it's supposed to be really hardy. I've actually seen them say it's hardy down to minus 20, not quite 25, but you know, either way, it never gets that cold here, hopefully. So that would be very unusual. And I've got a little hole here, and I've actually recently found out that I really like to plant my plants in a bit of a mound so that it can help the water run off and drain a little bit easier, because otherwise some of my plants can be quite stuck in quite swampy water because we've had so much rain. So I haven't dug the hole quite as deep as I usually would. I'm just going to get it all filled up. I'm going to give it lots of fish blood and bone to give it a good start. It's quite pot bound. It's been in this pot for a while, so let's get it out of the pot and have a look at it. But it's growing so much, it's got so much growth on it, you know, it just really needs to get into the ground and get sorted out. It spent the whole winter, 2 winters in fact, in the greenhouse, so I've been hardening it off for the last while in a shaded spot with other plants, and now I think you can just go out here and just grow. It's got really cute little leaves, and then hopefully next spring or next winter we'll get some flowers and some berries. But it'd be nice to have it right here. And I'm going to make I've got some of my sticks there, I'm going to make a little cage for it to keep it growing upwards. So let's get on with that now. Yeah, so you can see it is really quite pot bound, so I have to loosen those roots up somewhat, but the growth on it is just amazing. It's doing so well. I've added some fish blood and bone to the hole now, mixed in with some compost, and I'll just get it all planted in now, safe and sound. This is a really interesting thing to have a look at now. This is how you can easily propagate these kind of plants, because basically what's happened here is this long stem here was bent down to tie the bush up, and as I was unstrapping it, I saw there's lots of little tiny roots here along the stem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant it like this with the stem down and all these new little growths coming up from the branch, and that means that this actual stem here will root, and we'll just get a much bigger, bushier, fuller plant, and eventually I could even like snip little bits off and they could all become individual plants. But as it is, I'm going to keep them as a big bush. How lovely. It's interesting how that happened, pretty much on its own. So I've got it into the ground now, and I've added lots of sticks around it for lots of support, so to keep it safe and give the plant something to sort of wind its way up and support itself on. And then, as you can see, I've added a layer of torn up egg cartons. Now I really like using egg cartons. I also feed it to my worm farm because it's really like a fibrous paper. It's quite unrefined, unbleached usually as well. And just going to cover it now with some more compost, and that way this paper should also keep as a little tiny barrier to keep other plants from growing up around it, because when they do, then these kind of honeysuckles tend to struggle. I've found that in other areas of the garden. They don't really like getting competition from other plants. So just to keep a little bit of a barrier there, I'm going to put these egg cartons down. They will gently, slowly rot into the soil, and I can always replace them. But it's nice to use something that is free and organic, really, like paper. I know my mother-in-law was telling me when I was showing her I was using other cardboard. Usually I just use regular cardboard, really. And she was saying, oh, but you know, you can use plastic as well. But I don't want to add plastic to the garden, especially not right around edibles. I don't think that would be very beneficial for the garden. But yeah, I'll just add a little layer of compost now to cover all these egg cartons. Make it look prettier as well as obviously just help suppress any plants from trying to compete with this little honeysuckle. There it is, all safe and sound in the ground. And if I haven't mentioned it yet, they really do like shady spots, these ones here in particular. So that's really handy, especially as it's right underneath a beautiful butterfly tree and pink magnolia, or black magnolia I should say. Black tulip magnolia to be precise. Look here, it's still got a few flowers left on it. But yeah, I hope it'll be really happy here, and we'll keep an eye on it. And the rain is coming, so I don't need to water it. I might just give it a little bit of a drink, a bit of a feed. But yeah, it's nice to get it put in here, and I'm so happy it could be so close to the blue one, the honeyberry, and they can sort of cross-pollinate each other and hopefully produce some tasty berries in the years to come. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about this interesting, slightly unusual edible, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.